of the universe. He's got these huge deltoids, biceps, triceps, just bulging muscles from all over the place, and he's out to do good. Here he is threatening a gym school teacher because the teacher's been doing rude things to the girls' basketball team. Now look at the way Prime handles taking artillery. This is one of the things that I like about this book. When Superman gets hit with artillery, he has this perfectly laundered uniform. There's nothing, no dust, no muss, no fuss. It's all pristine and clean. When Prime gets hit, he sustains damage. Take a look. Here he is holding on to a grenade. Watch what happens after it explodes. He's got holes in his forehead, he's got holes in his chest, he's got holes in his stomach. His hand is a bloody pulp, but he regenerates, kind of like Wolverine, and he carries on.
The only superhero I can think of who is a 13-year-old boy, in fact, but who turns into a big adult superhero.
Prime is the ultimate teenage fantasy. If you're a teenager and you're into comic books, you've always had the fantasy of being the biggest, roughest, toughest superhero in the universe. And our character gets that fantasy fulfilled. It's very satisfying in some ways and very problematical in others.
I don't want to just make him a large superhero. A lot of these extremely muscular characters, the artists draw them with larger hands too, larger bones all around. This guy's going to be basically human proportion, except that the muscles are going to be gigantic. So there's going to be kind of a humorous element to it, which really fits the humorous conflict between the outside and the inside of this character.
Introducing Prime. He's big, powerful, strong, able to smash buildings or absorb artillery blasts, and he's only 13 years old. He's the superhero of his dreams. Unfortunately, they're dreams that he can't control. His powers don't always work perfectly, and sometimes he acts irresponsibly, and he's really not quite in control of things. But he does do one of the things that a 13-year-old can do when he has that kind of powers. He wants to save the world, he can beat up on crack dealers, fight terrorists, and have a lot of fun. Prime is a story about growing up, young people being confronted with adulthood way too quickly. He has to function as a 25-year-old alter hero and be perceived as an adult. He has to act like one, he has to make people think he's one, and he has to learn the rules of an adult, which are different than 13-year-olds. He also has to learn his responsibilities too. This might be too much for Kevin. People want his help, he may not be able to live up to theirs or his expectations. This is a classic story of an adult with a child within, which echoes all of our fantasies. That's part of the fun of reading comics, is to live out one's fantasies. I mean, what would you do if you had these kinds of powers? This ties in with everyone who's had to grow up too fast to fit in a world that's hard to understand. We all go through this at any age, at any time life takes a turn. This gives us a realistic look and feel about what's happening out there. For example, when he's out superheroing 2 or 3 days at a time, his parents are going crazy. He shows up at their doorstep naked, drained. He has no excuses. What do his parents think? Well, they think he's on drugs. He becomes shunned at school, not part of the social clique. So this is a 90s version of Captain Marvel. And I mean the 40s one, not the 60s one. Billy Batson, who is also the youth who, with the speaking of the magic word Shazam, was able to turn into the full-fledged superhero, but without the 40s innocence. This has more of a 90s feel to it. And that's the main reason I like this book, is because it's a solid story, it's got good fan art by Norm Breyfogle, and he's also similar to another teenager who finds out that with great powers come great responsibilities. Check out the early issue of Spider-Man's, like the first 25 issues, and you can see what I mean. Peter Parker learned that being superheroing isn't all that great, and yet at the same time the issues had a playfulness and a fun in the stories that isn't around too much right now. So I would say that Prime is first in importance. He's in time or in rank. This is a period of full vigor and success for the character, and I think the character is aptly named. This could be the best of the bunch. So in my opinion, for the Malibu Ultraverse, this is a prime